She said she just wanted to explore, but all I saw was the back of her walking out. That's how it ended. But if you'd asked me 6 months earlier, I would have told you Tiffany and I were rock solid. 6 years together, steady jobs, plans for a future. I thought we were building something real. Turns out I was the only one still building. My name's Jason. I'm 32, live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and until last year, I was in a long-term relationship with a woman I thought I'd marry. Tiffany and I met in college, senior year. She was the smart, confident type, not loud, but always the one with the sharpest comment in a conversation. We clicked fast. Not just physically, but mentally. She kept me on my toes, and I liked that. After school, we moved in together, both working full-time. Me in tech support for a healthcare company, her in marketing. We weren't rich, but we were stable. Grocery runs, meal prepping, binge-watching Netflix on weeknights. Our life wasn't flashy, but it was ours. I thought we were happy. Looking back, I don't know if there was a single red flag I missed, or if it was a slow fade that I refused to see. But around year 5, things started shifting. Tiffany started talking about growth. Not just personal growth, but relationship growth. Emotional evolution. She'd read a book, watched a few podcasts, and suddenly we were having new conversations. It started casual. Do you think people are really built to be with one person forever? I think it depends, I said. What if 2 people trust each other enough to explore? Wouldn't that make the connection deeper? At first, I thought it was just late-night philosophy. You know, those abstract talks couples have when they've been drinking wine and staring at the ceiling. But then she kept bringing it up. Not just in theory, in scenarios, like, what if we both met someone and had a connection, but still came home to each other? I told her, honestly, that sounds like a shortcut to heartbreak. She nodded, then added, but only if there's dishonesty. Weeks passed. The topic kept surfacing. I didn't realize then, but she wasn't asking for a theory. She was laying the groundwork, getting me used to the idea, and eventually she sat me down and said it straight. I want to try opening the relationship. It felt like a gut punch, not because I'm closed-minded, not because I think monogamy is the only way, but because it came out of nowhere. At least, that's what I told myself. The truth? It had been building. I just didn't want to admit it. We talked for hours. I asked the obvious questions. Is there someone already? She paused. Not really. There's a guy at work I've had good conversations with, but it's not like that. I just want to see what else is out there before I settle into forever. Before she settles into forever, like I was a backup plan. Still, I didn't say no. I told her I needed time to think. And after a few days, nights lying awake, thinking about who she might be texting, I said yes. With conditions. We made rules. Clear ones. No sleeping with people we know. No repeat hookups. Always be honest if someone started catching feelings. We agreed to weekly check-ins, full transparency, and mutual respect. It felt ridiculous, trying to structure something that by nature is chaotic. But it gave me some illusion of control. For a little while, it worked. She went on a date here and there. I did too, though mine were more awkward than anything else. Small talk felt forced. I wasn't looking for excitement. I was looking for escape. And deep down, I didn't want anyone else. I just didn't want to lose her. Then came the shift. Tiffany started coming home later. She'd text more than talk. We stopped sharing dinner, then stopped sitting on the couch together, then stopped talking altogether unless it was about bills or schedules. She wasn't angry. She was gone, but still sleeping next to me every night like nothing had changed. One night, she left her phone on the bathroom sink. A message popped up while she was showering. Liam, last night was perfect. Miss you already. I stared at it for a full minute, not because of what it said, but because of how long I'd suspected it was already happening. When she walked out of the bathroom, towel on her head, she saw me holding her phone. I didn't yell. I just said, "You said this wasn't emotional." She froze. "You went through my phone?" No. It was unlocked. It popped up. I didn't dig. She grabbed the phone and walked into the bedroom. "This is why I didn't want to tell you. You'd make it a thing." "A thing?" I said. "You're in love with someone else." "No, I'm not." "Then what is this?" She didn't answer. I slept on the couch that night. Not out of anger. Just clarity. Everything we'd built, everything we thought we were, felt like it had been quietly rewritten while I was busy trying to be cool about it. The next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. Made coffee. Asked if I wanted eggs. I said no, and I started making my own plan. I wish I could tell you, I packed my bags and walked out that morning, that I had enough self-respect to leave the second I saw the text. But I didn't. I stayed. Because after 6 years with Tiffany, I still held on to some hope. Hope that maybe this was just a phase. That maybe if I gave her space, she'd remember who we used to be. Turns out, I was holding on to something that was already gone. Things changed after that night. Not all at once, just in the subtle ways that tell you it's over, even if no one says it. We stopped touching, stopped laughing, stopped making plans beyond groceries and errands. Every time I looked at her, she looked like she was somewhere else. And most of the time, I knew exactly where that somewhere was. Liam, she never mentioned him by name, but she didn't need to. I'd see her get a text and smile, just for a second. Or she'd take calls in the other room and come back pretending nothing happened. Once, I walked in on her whispering, "I wish I could see you tonight." She flinched when she noticed me. I just walked out. I didn't say anything. What was the point? We were still technically in an open relationship, but I wasn't dating. Not really. I tried. Went out with someone from a dating app once. Nice enough girl, funny, smart, but halfway through dinner, I realized I couldn't even focus. I wasn't over Tiffany, and I wasn't okay with what we were doing, but I kept pretending like I was, because the alternative meant admitting I'd been a fool, that I agreed to open the door, and she walked straight out of it without ever looking back. One night, Tiffany came home late. I was sitting on the couch, lights low, TV off, just waiting. She didn't even look surprised to see me. "Working late?" I asked. She froze for a second, then nodded. "Yeah. Campaign meeting ran long," I nodded. "That's what Liam calls it?" She looked at me, finally looked. "Jason, don't. Just don't." She sat down, kept her voice low. "This wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't plan to get close to anyone. You didn't trip and fall into someone's bed, Tiffany. I didn't mean to fall for him." There it was. Finally. The truth. She said she felt things with Liam that she hadn't felt in a long time. Excitement. Curiosity, like I'm really seen. And here I was, 6 years by her side, apparently invisible the whole time. She told me she was confused, that she still cared about me, that she just didn't know what she wanted yet. "So I'm supposed to just wait around while you figure it out?" I asked. She didn't answer, which was its own answer. After that night, we stopped pretending. No more check-ins. No more rules. She started seeing Liam regularly, stopped bothering to hide it. She'd come home smelling like his cologne, wearing clothes I hadn't seen her leave in. Sometimes she wouldn't come home at all, and I'd just lie there, staring at the ceiling, wondering what the hell I was still doing. Celine, a mutual friend of ours, called me one weekend. We hadn't talked in a while, but she asked how I was holding up. I played it cool. She saw through it. "I know what's going on," she said gently, "and I just want you to know she's not who you think she is anymore." I asked her what she meant. "She's told people you're on a break, like you're roommates, like this was mutual." I laughed. "Yeah, she's rewriting the story already." Celine didn't laugh back. "I'm sorry. I wish I'd said something sooner." That was the day I decided to stop reacting and start preparing. I began collecting what I needed. Bank statements, rental agreements, copies of joint purchases. I wasn't going to be caught off guard when this finally blew up, because at this point, it wasn't a matter of if, it was when. The tipping point came when I found a bracelet in our bedroom drawer, a women's bracelet, but not hers. New. Expensive. Clearly a gift. She must have stashed it there by accident. When I asked her about it, she didn't even flinch. "Oh, Liam gave it to me. I meant to bring it to his place." I just stared at her. "You're hiding gifts from him in the same room where I sleep?" She shrugged. "I didn't think you'd go through my stuff." I didn't even get angry. I just walked out and sat in my car for an hour, engine off, thinking. And finally, I knew. This wasn't about open relationships. This wasn't about exploration. This was about someone already halfway out the door, holding the knob with one hand and using the other to keep me in place. That night, I started packing. Not to leave, not yet, but to get ready for the night I finally would. Because I wasn't in a relationship anymore. I was in limbo. And I was done waiting. When you've been with someone for 6 years, leaving them isn't just a choice. It's a process. It's unlearning habits. It's relearning silence. It's packing boxes, not just of clothes, but of memories you wish you didn't still care about. By the time I started planning my exit, Tiffany had already emotionally checked out. She was still living in our apartment, still sharing a bed with me, but her heart was somewhere else. And I realized, if I didn't leave soon, I was going to disappear right along with her. The first step was practical. I started separating accounts. Quietly, changed passwords, pulled my name off shared subscriptions, rerouted my paycheck to a new bank, not out of spite, out of survival. I knew how Tiffany worked. She'd get defensive when cornered, turn things around, make me the problem. So when I left, I wanted to do it clean. No screaming, no begging, no, you'll regret this, just done. During those weeks, we barely spoke. She came and went as she pleased, always dressed up, always glowing like she was living someone else's life. And in a way, she was. She was living the life she thought she wanted. No boundaries, no responsibility, no one to answer to. But every time she came home, her eyes darted around like she didn't belong there anymore. Like she was a guest in a place that used to be ours. I stopped asking questions, stopped waiting up, stopped pretending I didn't notice when she left with her makeup done and came back at 2 a.m. Us with her hair undone. Celine called again one night. "Jason, I don't want to get in the middle of this," she said, "but Tiffany's been telling people you two are basically over." I just laughed. "We are. She just hasn't realized it yet." Celine hesitated. "I think you should know. She's been seeing Liam exclusively for a while now. It's not open anymore." That one stung, not because I didn't know, but because someone else had to say it for me to admit it. That weekend, Tiffany came home late again. I was at the kitchen table, laptop open, lease documents pulled up. She kicked off her shoes, grabbed a glass of water, and said, "You're up late." I didn't look up, just finishing paperwork. For work? For the new apartment. Her hand froze halfway to her glass. "Wait, what?" "I'm moving out next week," I said, finally meeting her eyes. "You can keep this place." Her face twisted like she didn't understand English. "You're serious?" "Completely." She tried to laugh it off. "You don't have to be dramatic, Jason. We can talk about this." "Talk about what? You've been gone for months. I'm just catching up. You're blowing things out of proportion." "Am I?" I said. Because from where I'm sitting, the person who asked for an open relationship just found her next closed one, with someone else. She didn't deny it. She didn't even try. She just said, quietly, "I didn't mean for it to get this far." "Yeah," I said. "You never do." We sat there in silence for a while, the kind of silence that feels like a funeral. Finally, she whispered, "I don't want this to be ugly." "It doesn't have to be," I said. "It's already over." That was it. No shouting, no grand scene, just a quiet understanding that what we'd built was gone, and she'd been the one to burn it. Over the next few days, I started moving out piece by piece, a few boxes after work, my computer, my clothes, my tools. Tiffany didn't stop me. She just watched. Sometimes she'd ask small, meaningless things like, "Where are you going to put the couch?" Or, "Are you taking the blender?" I'd answer politely, but never look at her for long. I didn't want to see whatever version of guilt she was pretending to have. On the last day, I left my key on the counter. She was standing by the window, arms crossed. "You're really doing this," she said quietly. "Yeah," I said. "You already did. I'm just following your lead." 3 days later, she texted me, "Are you sure you want to throw this away?" I stared at it for a long time before typing back. "I didn't throw anything away, Tiffany. You just dropped it and I stopped picking it up." I hit send. Then I blocked her number. The first few weeks in my new apartment were rough. The silence was deafening. No footsteps, no keys in the door, no one asking, "What do you want for dinner?" But it was honest silence, and that was better than fake comfort. I started running again. I joined a gym. Celine checked in sometimes. She never said, "I told you so," just made sure I was eating. I deleted every photo of Tiffany, not out of spite, but because looking at them felt like reading someone else's story. Someone who hadn't learned yet. A month later, I saw Tiffany and Liam together at a cafe downtown. They didn't see me. She looked happy. Or maybe she was still in that early phase where everything feels like a movie. Either way, I didn't feel anything. Not anger, not sadness, just done. And for the first time in a long time, that word didn't sound like defeat. It sounded like freedom. They say time heals everything. That's not true. Time doesn't heal anything by itself. You have to choose to let go, and some days that choice feels impossible, but eventually it gets easier. And one day, you wake up and realize you're not angry anymore, not even a little. 3 months after I moved out, my life was finally mine again. The apartment was smaller, sure, but it was quiet, clean, and mine. I was working better, sleeping better. I wasn't checking my phone every 5 minutes or trying to decode someone else's silences. No more sitting in parking lots, wondering if I was being paranoid or if I was just seeing the truth too clearly. I started going out again, nothing serious. Just coffee dates, hikes, good conversations. And for the first time in a long time, I actually liked being alone. Then, out of nowhere, Celine messaged me. "Hey, I know you don't care anymore, but I thought you should know. Tiffany and Liam broke up." I stared at the screen for a second and replied, "Not surprised. Thanks, though." She sent one more message. She didn't look good. Honestly, I think she thought he was the prize. Turns out he was the lesson. That line stuck with me. Later that same week, I saw Tiffany at a Trader Joe's. She looked tired, hair tied up, oversized hoodie, barely any makeup. Just someone running errands alone, probably not expecting to bump into anyone. Our eyes met. She froze. I gave her a polite nod, turned back to the freezer section, and kept moving. A few minutes later, she tapped me on the shoulder near the self-checkout. "Hey," she said. I smiled slightly. "Hey." I wasn't sure if I should say anything, she added, "but it's good to see you." I nodded. "You too." She hesitated. "You look good. Happier." "I am," I said, not trying to rub it in, just stating a fact. There was a long pause before she said, "I messed up, huh?" I shrugged. "We both did, but you just did it louder." She half laughed, half sighed. "Liam wasn't what I thought he was." "I know." She looked down at the floor. "I miss what we had." I didn't respond, because I didn't miss it. I missed who I thought she was, not who she turned out to be. She looked up. "Would you ever want to talk sometime?" I met her eyes. "Tiffany, I hope you're okay. I really do, but I'm not going back, and I'm not curious anymore." She nodded slowly. "Okay, I get it." And that was it. We both walked out, separate lines, separate bags, separate lives. A few weeks later, I got a long email from her, apologizing, reflecting, saying she's in therapy, that she wishes things had gone differently. I didn't reply, because I'd already said everything by leaving. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need her to beg or hurt or regret. I just needed space to breathe again. And now, I've got that. And more. A better job. Better peace. Better understanding of what I'll never settle for again. Here's what I know now. If someone ever asks you to open a relationship, check who they're really opening it for. Because sometimes they're not offering freedom. They're offering a slow exit. Tiffany didn't lose me when she fell for someone else. She lost me the moment she stopped choosing us. And me? I didn't lose anything. I walked away with my dignity, my sanity, and a quiet kind of peace that I never had when I was with her. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. If you want to share your stories, please comment below. Additionally, what is your opinion on the poster's decision?